The desperate flight continued. Thoat Hoan and his decimated escort were pushed relentlessly toward the coast, every step calculated by Tran Hung Dao. The objective was simple: funnel the humiliated prince directly into the river mouth prepared for him.
Let them taste freedom. The pursuit ends here. Guide the mouse to the bottle.
As Thoat Hoan saw the open water and the waiting Mongol transport ships at the mouth of the Bach Dang River, a desperate relief washed over him. It seemed, finally, an escape was possible from the hostile land.
The sea is salvation. I will never set foot on this cursed land again. Sail! Sail fast!
We strike with the morning tide. Ensure the timing is exact across all divisions.
It is confirmed. The coordinated attack...
The Mongol ships hastily began loading the prince, rushing toward the narrow passage. But waiting at the river entrance was the small, swift advance fleet of Tran Duat.
We must appear vulnerable before the main fleet arrives.
The Dai Viet ships positioned themselves to appear as a small, easy target, perfectly executing the planned feint attack.
Charge! Fight them, but do not win! Draw them deeper! The tide is turning! To the rails!
The initial clash began. The small Dai Viet fleet engaged the larger Mongol ships in a fierce skirmish, then suddenly executed a swift, coordinated retreat. The confident Mongol fleet, believing they had won the first naval encounter easily, rushed in pursuit, sailing directly over the hidden minefield of stakes.
The water hides the teeth. Their speed is their weakness. They sail blind toward their doom.
They are fully engaged over the stakes.
Tran Hung Dao watched from the high command post, patiently waiting for confirmation.
Yes, Commander.
A flag was raised, signaling the Mongol fleet was fully engaged and the trap was sprung.
Full speed! Give them no quarter! Let the final act begin! All forces, full...
The main Dai Viet naval fleet and fire ships, led by Tran Quang Khai, emerged dramatically from hidden coves and tributaries. The high tide had begun to turn. The Mongol ships realized they were now hopelessly trapped, surrounded on both sides of the river by the main Dai Viet force. Thoat Hoan, from his transport ship, watched his final hope turn into a terrifying, organized ambush.
The ambush is set. They are encircled. This river mouth is the stage for their final judgment. They are trapped. Sound the war horns and prepare.
The Mongol fleet, believing they had finally broken through, suddenly found themselves completely encircled by the aggressive Dai Viet forces. War cries erupted, turning Thoat Hoan's relief into pure panic. Tran Quang Khai's junks launched a massive volley of flaming arrows.
The fire is too strong, Commander. Unleash the fire. Burn their sails. Leave them no escape route. Defensive formation. Do not let them pass.
Tran Hung Dao, watching from the high ground, remained perfectly calm. The high tide was still at its peak, concealing the iron-tipped stakes beneath the turbulent surface. The initial chaos was necessary to draw the enemy deeper into the trap.
Let them chase shadows. The depth is our ally. They are already over the line. Grapple the flagship!
Tran Duat led the light, agile junks in a fierce frontal attack, engaging the largest Mongol ships. The goal of this phase was to provoke the enemy into a blind, reckless pursuit upriver, directly over the concealed minefield. Thoat Hoan, driven by panic and desperation, ordered his fleet to break through the blockade and escape to the open sea at all costs.
Break through the fire! Push them back to the shore! Our escape depends on speed! Full speed ahead!
Driven by rage, the Mongol fleet rushed forward, sailing deep into the delta. Their heavy hulls passed just inches above the deadly, submerged iron stakes.
They have crossed the line of...
Tran Hung Dao's generals confirmed the crucial intelligence. The Mongol fleet had crossed the main line of the traps. The tide had begun its subtle, inevitable turn.
Feint complete! Withdraw! The main trap is set! Give the signal! All ships, full speed ahead! Rush the flank!
The feint forces withdrew, and the final, decisive wave of attack ships rushed the flank of the now exposed Mongol fleet. They were fully surrounded and trapped in the narrow river mouth.
The river whispers its secret. The clock is ours. The water level will not wait for the enemy.
Pull harder, men! The current is against...
Panic seized the Mongol commanders as they attempted to turn their ships around against the flow of the current. On the riverbanks, Tran Hung Dao's archers rained down volleys of fire arrows upon the immobile ships. Thoat Hoan watched helplessly as his final vessels burned. The water level was dropping rapidly. The mudflats were beginning to appear.
The final act has begun. The tide is turning. The fate of the Mongol fleet is sealed. The ebb current runs deep.
The strategy behind the Battle of Bach Dang was a masterpiece of scientific warfare. Tran Hung Dao did not rely on chance. He relied on the precise, predictable power of the ocean tide. The water's movement was meticulously charted and controlled.
The river does not lie. We studied its breath, its rhythm. Today, the tide is our strongest general.
Steer hard to port. We must reach the bank.
Now deep inside the delta, Thoat Hoan's heavy ships struggled violently against the rapidly strengthening ebb current. Their lack of knowledge about the local waters became a fatal flaw. They were losing maneuverability by the second.
The moment of reckoning. They are caught between the Dai Viet fury and the silent teeth of the earth.
The water level dropped dramatically. Dai Viet officers, using simple calibrated wooden sticks, confirmed the precise depth. The lethal iron stakes were now mere inches beneath the surface. The river was closing its iron fist.
To battle, men of Dai Viet! Now, the water has given us the signal. Execute the plan. End this war. Fire the signal flare. Prepare for the advance.
Tran Hung Dao raised his hand, and a signal flare shot into the sky. It was the absolute final command. The main Dai Viet fleet instantly surged forward from their hidden coves. Thoat Hoan saw the flare and the relentless attack, realizing his fleet was now completely immobilized, stuck fast in the mudflats above the hidden stakes.
Trapped! Immobile! The great Mongol fleet has run aground. The final slaughter begins.
The river's final betrayal had begun. The ebb tide accelerated, and as the water level plummeted, the heavy Mongol warships instantly lost all momentum. Their hulls scraped against the muddy riverbed, listing violently as they were snared by the hidden current. Then, the truth of the trap became agonizingly clear. The black, iron-tipped wooden stakes of the Bach Dang River began to emerge from the receding water.
Stakes! We've sailed over stakes! This is no river! This is a greyhound! The hour is upon us!
Tran Hung Dao, standing high above the river, gave the final, cold order. The entire Dai Viet naval force, led by Tran Nhat Duat and Tran Quang Khai, surged forward toward the immobilized enemy. A sickening crunch echoed across the delta as the first major Mongol warship was impaled and ripped open by a massive wooden spike.
The river has devoured the fleet. Immobilized and helpless, the tide delivers its judgment.
Forward, through the rocks!
The chaos was absolute. Ships were stuck, sinking or burning. Tran Nhat Duat's junks, small and agile, easily navigated the newly shallow waters, positioning for the kill. They launched massive volleys of fire arrows, turning the delta into an inferno.
The target is fixed! Fire everything! Let the iron sink their arrogance! We've struck the stakes!
Mongol resistance quickly crumbled. Stranded on the slippery, muddy decks of their trapped ships, the soldiers were unable to fight back effectively. The battle had turned into a relentless, brutal slaughter. Desperate Mongol soldiers abandoned ship, sinking into the thick mud as they tried to reach the shore, only to be met by waiting Dai Viet infantry.
The flow is broken. Their mobility is gone. Now, only the relentless elimination remains.
Thoat Hoan watched in utter disbelief and collapse. as the flagship nearest him was consumed by fire and began to sink slowly onto the stakes. His grand invasion was being dismantled piece by piece.
My men, my ships, my honor, all shattered on these cursed wooden spikes.
Press the attack. Send another volley of flame.
Tran Hung Dao's forces maintained constant pressure, turning the scene of immobilization into one of utter defeat. The resistance was broken. The battle now entered the phase of control. Tran Hung Dao lowered his gaze. The grim satisfaction of a flawless strategic victory complete. The main Mongol resistance had ceased.
We are victorious! Cease the arrows! Secure the prisoners! The battle ends now! The hunting begins! Never! For the great Khan! He's down.
The final act of resistance was short-lived. Thoat Hoan's personal escort desperately fought a rearguard action to secure his escape. He was pulled away from the main battle and onto a very small, fast escape boat.
Let the prince flee with his life. He carries the greater shame. The invasion is dead. The invader lives to report it.
Maintain formation.
The scene after the battle was one of devastation. Smoke, fire, and the splintered wood of dozens of sunken ships. Dai Viet forces swiftly began securing prisoners and salvaging equipment from the wreckage.
A victory absolute. The sea is stained with the ruin of the Yuan dynasty's naval power.
Tran Hung Dao descended from the command post to meet Tran Nhat Duat and Tran Quang Khai on the mudflats. The three architects of victory shared a moment of profound, shared triumph. The captured Mongol standard was pulled down and thrown into the muddy water, symbolizing the definitive end of the invasion.
The great Khan's forces, broken by mud and wood. The lesson will echo for centuries.
Final cleanup procedures initiated.
The sun set over the scene of destruction, casting long shadows across the broken fleet. The total destruction of the Mongol fleet at Bach Dang ensured that the Yuan dynasty would never again attempt a naval invasion of Dai Viet.
We protected the nation not just with might, but with knowledge. The river is our witness. The war is won.
The chaos of the initial clash gave way to systematic destruction. The Yuan fleet, immobilized and impaled, was a fixed target. Tran Quang Khai ordered a synchronized assault from both the river and the riverbanks, eliminating the last vestiges of resistance.
Do not let them break through!
No time for mercy! Close the ranks! They are broken now! Crush the will!
A long, slow sequence of destruction. Heavy Yuan warships splitting apart as their weight rested entirely on the iron stakes. Their commanders, unable to fight or maneuver, were quickly overwhelmed. Thoat Hoan's personal guard fought desperately, physically pulling the prince onto a small, desperate escape boat to save him from capture.
Leave it! Leave everything! Save the prince! This defeat is not worth my life!
Final sweep!
Tran Nhat Duat led the final sweep, extinguishing any remaining floating resistance and ensuring the Yuan standard was torn down from the mast of the last flagship. The naval power of the Yuan dynasty was extinguished. Tran Hung Dao, watching through his spyglass, confirmed the strategic objective was complete. The Mongol capacity to invade by sea was eliminated.
The Yuan navy is extinguished. Their capacity to invade is zero. The strategic objective is complete.
The battle transitioned into salvage and capture. Tran Quang Khai began organizing the massive cleanup operation. The scattered wreckage of the Yuan fleet served as a permanent, humiliating monument to their ambition.
We must clear...
The elimination of the Yuan naval power was absolute. Tran Hung Dao descended to the river delta floor, his boots sinking slightly into the exposed mud, surveying the wreckage of his masterpiece.
Let him go. Let the humiliation be his messenger. The greatest victory is not the killing of... Separate the generals...
The prince's small escape boat was intentionally allowed to reach the open sea. Thoat Hoan was alive but utterly defeated, a living witness to his own failure. Tran Duat oversaw the capturing of all surviving Yuan generals. The final official count confirmed the total destruction of the fleet. The battle was over.
Quickly but carefully... The river is clean. The last great threat is broken. Sound the horns. The war is over. The tides were
Soon,
monitored with
the
precision.
flood tide began its slow return, washing away the evidence of the slaughter. The river reclaimed its form, concealing the deadly stakes once more. A powerful symbol of nature returning to peace after serving the cause of Dai Viet.
The river reclaims its form. The water rises, washing away the blood, hiding the evidence of the greatest defeat in Mongol history.
Tran Hung Dao met with local militia leaders, thanking them for their essential role. He looked back one last time at the river, a final, rare smile of total victory on his face, before beginning the triumphant march home.
Go home, my people! The final lesson has been taught. This land is sovereign, and the price of invasion is paid in full.
The great battle was won, but the last image was that of defeat. Thoat Hoan sailing desperately into the open sea, a prince reduced to a frightened refugee. He carried with him the ultimate humiliation, a living symbol of the Yuan dynasty's failure.
The work is finished. The cost was high, but the independence of our people is priceless.
Tran Hung Dao's forces efficiently secured the delta, dismantling the temporary wooden fortifications and loading the valuable captured Yuan supplies onto carts. The final act of war was logistics and cleanup. Thoat Hoan's small boat eventually encountered a larger Yuan relief ship, allowing the prince to escape permanent capture and sail back north in disgrace. The victorious Dai Viet army began their long, triumphant march away from the river, greeted by cheering crowds in every regional town. Tran Hung Dao accepted the praise with the dignified humility of a general who understood the true weight of his victory.
Look upon the mighty Khan's commanders. They are broken. This nation bows to no man. Your Majesty.
The final legacy was peace. Farmers returned to their rice paddies. Children played near the safe riverbanks. The vast, turbulent river delta, the scene of the ultimate slaughter, returned to its natural, calm state.
A general's true victory is not just in battle, but in the long, peaceful life he secures for his descendants.
The nation began the massive effort of rebuilding, symbolized by the vibrant life returning to the citadel walls of Thanglong. The war had proved that unity and strategic genius were stronger than overwhelming force.
The price of blood paid 1,000-fold. The nation lives. From the ashes of war, a new prosperity will rise.
The three generals, Tran Hung Dao, Tran Duat, and Tran Quang Khai, stood together on the citadel walls, looking out over the peaceful land, their mission complete. The second Mongol invasion had failed decisively.
My advisors, the Emperor expects us by nightfall. We must finalize the troop movements before then.
The Bach Dang River flows forever. And forever, it will whisper.